So I bought this bike once and then sold it because of how much I freaking hated it. But then I bought it again. Why? I want to share what I believe is the most slept-on cruiser motorcycle ever, why it's been a sleeper, and why it's growing so fast in popularity that's rivaling some of the most popular choices for used cruisers to mod and chop. And no, it's not the Honda Rebel. But if you want me to cover the Rebel, let me know in those comments. You know what to do. In this video, I'm going to cover what this motorcycle is, the reasons people have ignored it for so damn long, and why I hated it, why it's skyrocketing in popularity, and why I bought it again, and what I really think about this bike. If you love getting excellent power out of a motorcycle by paying way less, then you're going to want to watch this. Because what I'm about to share might be the deal of the decade right now as far as used motorcycles go, and you may have a very short window to get one. But there are some sub-model differences you will want to know about before pulling the trigger, so please, pretty please, keep watching. Very important information here. Now, over the last 20 years of building motorcycles, I've gotten my hands on every damn Honda I can find and afford, and I have to be honest, I used to hate this bike. Literally, absolutely hated it. You may have heard from me talk about it before, but hated the damn thing. So what's the damn bike? Well, it's not one bike really, but a specific displacement in a larger family of bikes. Now, I know y'all think I'm going to be predictable and say the VT600, but that is not slept on. I've helped popularize that model and as a viable option for a very sweet chopper. They're great, but not slept on. Now, the bike that I slept on, and yes, even I was totally sleeping on this bike for quite some time, the Honda Shadow VT1100 line. This line of motorcycles was slept on for decades by myself as well. And before I give you the very brief rider's history of the VT1100, if you are sick to death of AI motorcycle videos, hit like. That is how we tell the algorithm you want real riders and real people talking to you and real bikes, not fake, crappy AI slop content. And it helps the channel out a ton. Moving on. Now, the Honda Shadow VT1100 made its debut in 1985 and was in production until 2007. That is a 22-year run. So they must have done something right with this model, right? And I'll get to why it's grown in popularity in the last few years in just a minute. Now, the 1100 was Honda's V-twin answer to the American cruiser demand in the 80s. They already had the Magna or the VF line, but its aesthetics lean more towards a crossover kind of upright riding position, sport bike vibe. You know, it was interesting. Honda called it a cruiser, but you know what I mean when I say it's one of those metric bikes that wasn't quite a cruiser, not quite the CB style bike. It was just a time when Honda didn't quite have that cruiser styling down. And their 700, 750 models were really seen as starter bikes at the time. Now, they didn't have anything to compete with Harley's big twin, large displacement bikes. Enter the VT1100 line. Now, over the years, the Shadow 1100 definitely evolved through several models and overall design shapes, and some are simply better than others. Just the facts, okay? Now, the early generation from 85 to 86, this was still a pretty cramped up cruiser, with a lot of cues still coming from that weird crossover period where riding position was still pretty like upright. The bike had mid-mount controls, the seat height wasn't low like a cruiser should have, and the exhaust was still going one out each side of the bike. Not really a cruiser thing. Now, these models really are obsolete, and most of the wearable components for these bikes are no longer available. Now, if you get one and it runs, ride it till the wheels fall off, man. Fun fact, if you look at the frame on the early VT1100, you can really easily see a perfect example of the triangular shape of the seat support area. This is what Harley was trying to replicate when they made the FXR, which is one of the most stable frames Harley's ever produced. Now, in 87, Honda made a lot of changes. They went to forward controls, lower seat, more relaxed riding position, and the pipes that exited the A side of the bike. All right, we make some changes, kind of getting with the times. Then in 95, they dropped the Ace, American Classic Edition 1100. In 98, they dropped the 750 version. Now, this had very classic styling, more of a Harley-inspired exhaust route, and then they dropped the Spirit in 97, which was a very simple cruiser design and affordable to boot. Now, then came the Aero and Sabre era. They went to all-disc rear brakes, and the Aero actually took some style cues from Indians like sweeping fenders and a lower handlebar position, but the Sabre really stepped into that muscle cruiser arena with more aggressive styling. Now, the one thing I cannot stand about the Sabre, the wheels are ugly as freaking sin. Yeah, just take a gander at those food processor blades. Hot. Now, while staying very accessible to everyday riders due to its super comfortable stance and muscle cruiser aesthetics, the VT1100's long production run cemented it as one of the most dependable, potentially powerful, and underrated cruiser platforms ever built. Now, the VT1100 was powered by a 1099cc liquid-cooled 52-degree V-twin, producing 50 to 67 horsepower on paper, yes, yet capable of much more, and 65 to 71 foot-pounds of torque. These numbers only tell half the story though, because the torque peaks as low as 2,500 RPM, meaning you are surfing a wave of massive brass balls energy from the moment you twist the throttle. And acceleration isn't explosive on this bike, but it's satisfyingly linear and smooth. absolutely perfect for cruising around 60 to 75 miles an hour without even breaking a sweat. And you got a lot more room after that. And there's a lot more here that I will go into. Now, the reasons people have ignored this bike for so long and why I hated it, let's get into that. First, if it is so good, why did I hate it? And why did I sell the first one I bought only to turn around and buy the damn thing again? Well, I had one big beef with this bike and several small ones. But before I cover that, I want to cover why a lot of other people slept on this bike until recently. So here's why people slept on this bike for so damn long. One, it's not a Harley. A lot of folks wanted the brand sex appeal of a Harley that Harley is so popular for. And the only thing is, when you get into a Harley, you are going to be paying a bigger price tag. We'll call that the Harley tax. Second thing is they have plastic trim sometimes. And yes, this turns people off sometimes just by the bike's outward appearance. And I gotta say, the heaving barf sensation I feel when I look at some stock stuff is warranted. But these bikes are an absolute goldmine for creativity. Strip the junk, pick up a set of exhausts, some bars, tune the thing, and you just went from grandpa's Putzmobile to respectable cruiser in a weekend. Next is the sound. I'm gonna be very real with you. The stock exhaust on these bikes makes them sound like a cat fart in a Kleenex box. It's awful. They do not have that oh so sexy Harley rumble right off the showroom floor. So, long time ago, old people felt the Hondas were beginner bikes or puny little cruisers for the Girl Scouts. Now, the sentiment has really changed over the years and quite a bit recently as more and more people want a great sounding bike, but don't want to pay that Harley tax. The other is power potential. People slept on these bikes because they leave a ton of power on the table in stock condition that nobody knew they could unlock. I mean, a lot of power. And I have some videos coming out soon to prove it and some pretty awesome parts in the works as well. So subscribe if you want to see how much power we can squeeze out of these things in our upcoming videos. Now, people also confuse the affordable price tag of a Honda with being cheap. Now, the Shadow's biggest curse, I think, is that it's too affordable. Yes, that is literally a thing. Used prices on these bikes are stupid low. So people assume it's low quality. Now, in reality, these engines are nearly bulletproof. My first Honda Shadow 600 went well over 400,000 miles before I tore the thing apart for R&D. Now, many of these bikes go 200,000 to 300,000 miles with just regular maintenance and care. That is absolutely insane, but it's possible with a Honda. Next is, they just weren't trendy, man. A lot less people were flexing their Shadow compared to even stock Harleys. Now, the Shadow has not been a historically trendy choice, which makes it, I think, the best freaking choice if you want to build something truly unique. Now, what's truly punk rock is not doing the thing everyone else is doing. This is the same reason the vintage CBs blew up later. Once the right builders gave them some love, everybody wanted one. Now, some people also think that metric equals hard to customize. OEM Honda Shadow parts are dirt cheap. They're easy to source. Aftermarket support is way better now. I know you want to get to the reasons why I hated the damn things. Now, first off, so right off the bat, I hated that I had to take the carbs out from the center of the frame instead of the side of the bike. This is easily overcome, though, by taking the time to figure out the combination of moves to effectively lift the carbs out. You got to do it a few times and you will learn, but it's not that hard. The first time is just living hell. 2. The backbone is wider than Lizzo's ass. Meaning designing a gas tank for the bike resulted in a tank that was the same width as the stock tank, because it can't get any more narrow, but had less capacity. Super hella weak. Now, if you guys think I should take another stab and try and design a cool tank for these bikes, please drop me a comment. I want to know. Now, the wheels on the Sabre, as I mentioned previously, were a literal crime against humanity. I'm really curious who got the design go-ahead to pass on to final production, but I'm thinking if I get another Sabre at this point, I'll just do a wheel swap. As of the filming of this video, we now have 2 VT1100s in the shop. We are working on dropping some really nice stuff for those bikes. Now, here's why these bikes are skyrocketing popularity and why I bought them again. So now that we've covered the completely illogical reasons why people used to ignore these bikes as legitimate cruisers, let's go over why I think they have risen in popularity so rapidly as of late. First off is going to be that price. Competitive pricing models have outpriced people from being able to buy some newer bikes. This drives your consumers to look at used markets. Right now, you can get an 1100 from 500 to 4K, depending on condition, obviously, seller motivation, etc., many other factors. Check out some videos I do have that will help you figure out what bike to buy. These factors are largely due to the economic shifts right now, but they are getting rarer and higher in demand, so you might see that change. Economy is the next factor here. The economy has drastically changed. People are looking for a motorcycle experience but have less disposable income due to, increases in cost of living, but they still want a dope bike. So this is what's putting that demand pressure on these bikes. Next up, this one's really cool, and I'm going to continue to study this trend, but people are learning to build things again. The trades were taken out of schools, and so now no one knows how to fix a damn thing. But people are starting to turn back to trades and fixing things. There's a rising enrollment in vocational programs, high demand right now for skilled workers, and a noticeable cultural shift valuing hands-on skills over the college for everyone narrative. With younger people seeing trades as financially stable, rewarding careers, not just fallbacks, and they're seeing the value in repairing what you already own and finding joy in simple repair work. Now, these bikes are a pleasure to work on compared to many, many others. Next is parts accessibility. There has been a massive increase in accessibility of aftermarket parts for bikes that allow people to get the most out of them without having to be a professional bike builder. I have spent 20 freaking years developing hundreds of aftermarket parts for 600s, 750s, the Ace, Spirit, Phantom, Aero. That means I have a finger on the actual pulse of demand of the riders on these bikes, and I am seeing way more demand from the 1100 guys than ever, and for good reason. Now, with that being said, are you sleeping on picking up an 1100? Here's why you shouldn't. After owning every damn Shadow you can probably buy, here's what I think. They are bulletproof. I've owned them all, and I can tell you from personal experience, these motors are built like a brick house. You can beat the ever-loving whiz out of them. Ride cross-country, forget an oil change or two, but please don't, okay? And they'll start every damn morning without excuses. They're inexpensive, but not cheaply made. People sleep on Shadows because you can find them for under $2,000. That's not a red flag, that's a green freaking light. You're getting Honda reliability, a strong motor, a solid frame for less than what most folks spend on an exhaust for Harley. I'm not spitting hate here at all. Please, don't get me wrong, because I ride Harley too. I'm just saying facts. It's very possible to find a running Honda Shadow for sub $2,000 hairs, and I've seen some bitchin' exhaust for Harley go for $2K or more. So I'm just saying, you can get into a badass bike, still pay rent, imagine that. Now, the custom potential is insane with a VT1100. The bones, the lines on these bikes are killer. You strip off the chrome covers, maybe throw a little paint on them, you know, add a brutal custom max performance kit, you've got a ripper. This bike begs to be customized and have its potential unlocked, because stock, they're just not very boner inspiring. They are the ugly duckling waiting to become a bald eagle. I hope my editor can put a screaming eagle in there. And with the right setup on these, you can make one of them look really nice for pennies on the dollar, comparatively speaking. I'm still working on the damn backbone issue though. Let me know in the comments if you guys think an aftermarket tank would be cool. Another thing, these bikes are comfortable as the stance is perfect for a wide range of human sizes. That's one of the few bikes that you can ride all day and still have energy to enjoy a rousing game of Red Rover with your friends. Now, riding position and low vibration engine both contribute to a very pleasant and fun rider experience. Another factor, they don't require incessant maintenance. You're not adjusting valves every weekend or chasing down electrical gremlins. You keep the carbs clean on these things, oil fresh, regular maintenance, they'll run longer than most relationships. Now, if wrenching isn't your religion, because yes, you will convert. Wild hogs. Shadows are perfect. They let you ride more than you repair. And they sound dope with the right exhaust. Stock Shadows will whisper sweet nothings in a very sensual manner that feels very, very wrong. It's not great. But you toss on a proper set of pipes and suddenly you're getting noise complaint letters from the HOA like a boss. Now calm down there, Billy Badass. The deep, sexy V-twin rumble is here. It's just hiding behind Hondas. We can't scare the EPA stock mufflers. Now you can easily get that throat angry bark without paying out the ass. And I am making some super dope exhaust systems for mine right now. So subscribe if you want to see those and maybe win a set. Ooh, I don't know. We'll see. Now finally, they are the underdog. Nobody expects a Shadow to be badass. That's what makes them such a great choice. When you roll up on a beautiful rumbling Shadow, looks like it crawled out of a Mad Max movie, people lose their minds. They're stoked. It looks dope. You're not another guy in a sea of stock black bikes. You're the one who built something that nobody saw coming. So how do you know if one of these 1100 models is right for you? Well, if you like keeping more money in your pocket, if you like maximum reliability with these things, along with the huge power in a customizable setup and excellent Japanese engineering, the Honda Shadow 1100 is a supreme choice for you. Now, I drop links to my favorite 1100 parts in the comments or the caption, whatever you call that thing. Go check it out. Peace.